So if you've heard about sync licensing, you want to get started with it, but you are 35 years and older, you might be concerned, is it too late? Is this an industry that sort of already passed me by? I should have got started with this when I was in my 20s, and I'm way too late for it. It's a great question. I totally understand the hesitation. I do empathize with that fear and with that consideration because this is a lot of work and there's a lot of energy that needs to be devoted to your sync licensing career if you want to make it a serious full-time endeavor. So I am myself in the over 35 category. I am 38. However, I did get my start much younger in my life. I got started when I was 23. So I do understand when you hear that and you're maybe older, you think, well, Jesse only is doing well because he got started when he was way younger and I'm already 40 something or I'm already 50 or 60 something. So I just really don't have a shot at this business because it's too late for me and I should have got it started years ago. I'm going to move on to something else. Well, here's why I think that's nonsense. That's garbage. That doesn't make any sense to me. I have students that are in their 60s that are joining either Sync Academy or Sync Edge for the first time, learning how to create licensable music for the first time in their lives, getting accepted by libraries and getting their first placements and getting their careers started in their 60s. I know these producers. I have their emails. We have communicated, okay? So this isn't just theory. I know this actually works for older producers. And why sync licensing is so cool and such a great industry for those of us that might be a little bit more in the older category is we do not have to worry about our marketability or how sexy we look in a photo or how well we are going to be marketed towards the general marketplace. Because if you're not aware, our faces, our names, our image does not get marketed on these TV shows, commercials, and movies and video games that we get our songs placed in, for better or for worse. Some of us might think that's a bummer. I think it's actually kind of freeing in a way to not have to worry about the way that I look or how I can be marketed or whether or not I fit a certain type of demographic or something like that, right? All these considerations that have to be put into place when you are a artist and you want to work with labels and you want to work with distribution companies and put out music videos. You have to worry about all these kind of things. Sync licensing, we get to cross all of those off the list. We get to basically bypass all of that nonsense. And we really get to focus on one thing. And the only thing that really matters, I think all musicians and producers would agree, the only thing that really matters with what we're doing here is our music. Is it awesome? Is it high quality? Is it fun to listen to? Is it driven? Does it give you a very particular emotional focus? If the answer to all those questions is yes, then you've got a career on your hands. Then you've got people at music libraries that will take your music and take you seriously. And guess what? Don't care. They don't care if you're 79 years old. They don't care if you're 33 years old. They do not care that you're 55 years old and just retiring. They probably won't even ask you that. I have never been asked by any library I've ever worked with, how old are you? Nobody's asked me that, okay? They've also never asked me, what kind of studio do you work out of? And what kind of DAW are you working with? And, are you well qualified? Do you have a degree in this? These are all questions that have never been asked me and that will never be asked of you. I guarantee it, okay? They only care about the one thing that matters for them and their clients, which is your music high quality? So if you are an older producer, older musician, your biggest challenge might be just learning new software, because as we get older, and I'm a part of this too, okay, I'm not trying to pick on you guys, but as you get older, your willingness and ability to learn new stuff decreases quite a bit. When we're younger, we're just sponges and we can absorb new stuff very quickly and we're all excited about new technology. I found myself, as I get older, my curiosity for the world starts to wane a little bit. So I have to willingly push myself into new situations to learn new stuff. So if you at least have the ability or the curiosity or the willingness to learn a new software, like basically Logic Pro, Pro Tools, Ableton, whatever music production software you feel you connect with, as long as you can do that, everything else in sync licensing will absolutely take care of itself, because that is probably the biggest stumbling block for most older producers and musicians. If you've already got that down, you're already making music, you're already working with these DAWs, then you already passed the biggest hurdle. So just know that your age is no longer a hurdle. It's not a hurdle at all if you're already making that music. So just use that at least as my motivation and encouragement for you to jump into this business no matter how old you are, okay? And know that this is, one of the things that I think this business provides many of us, and I know a lot of my producers, my students fall into this category, is, many of us had bands, had a stab at the music business years ago, maybe even decades ago, and it didn't work out. We didn't get what we wanted. We didn't get exactly the deal that we wanted. We didn't turn it into full-time income. I know I certainly didn't. And then you kind of get a little bit bitter about that. You just like, that sucks. Or maybe not, and you just kind of accept it and you just move on with your life and do other things. But then along comes this thing called sync licensing, and it sounds too good to be true. I totally get that. It's like, wait a minute, I can work from home. I can make the music I want. They just value me on my music. I don't have to worry about my marketability or whether or not I fit into some sort of a demographic they can market to. Like, I can really just make great music and get it on TV and get paid for that. Like, what's the catch, right? So I totally understand the hesitancy for a lot of people who've been burned by this business many times to not get started. But it really is all the good things that you think it could be. It really is. Like, it can provide amazing opportunities for you from your home studio if you're willing to put in the work. Of course, when people say, what's the catch? Well, the catch is it's not easy, of course, and it doesn't come quickly, and it's not something that you should probably just dabble in every once in a while and just see what happens, unless you're really not that serious about it. So you got to commit to it. You got to jump in with both feet, and you really do have to put in some time. I do believe it's about a 2 to 5 year window to see that full-time income. But if you've got that ambition, you've got that willingness, and you've got that hunger, you really can do well with this business at any age in your life. So if you have not gone through my free course that I offer all producers that are learning about sync licensing for the first time, click on the link in the description box below, because it'll get you started on this business and learn how everything works. So how to understand basically how to navigate your first couple of steps in this business. You do not need to be a rocket scientist. You do not have to have a PhD in business to understand. I don't think they offer those anyways, but you do not have to have a massive understanding of business principles to really succeed in this business. In fact, it's pretty common sense stuff that I teach, but you do need to have an overview about who the different players are, what your role in it is, and how you're going to avoid a lot of the pitfalls that many producers fall into as they get into this business, because many of us are just obviously naive when we get started in a new endeavor. We don't know what to look out for. We don't know what kind of questions to ask. We don't know what to avoid, but I can prepare you for all that stuff in that free course. So definitely click on that. And if you have any other further questions about this in terms of what's too old and what concerns maybe you have about your career and your age, leave it as a comment below and I will answer those questions to the best of my ability. So please do reach out and let me know if there's something that's still getting in the way of you really taking this seriously and jumping full force into sync licensing. I would love to hear from you.